Welcome everyone to the San Diego Comic-Con Robotech panel. How many of you are here because of announcements about new animation? Alright. How many of you are here about some news you heard about comics? Yeah! And how many of you are here just to figure out what we're smoking? Alright. Well, hello everyone, I'm Tommy Yune, President of Animation at Harmonyville, USA. I'm actually joined here by my esteemed colleagues. I've got here with me Steve Yune, VP Engineer. He also worked on Robotech Live with me. I've got Kevin Mckeever down in the crowd. He is the VP of Marketing. And I've also got Scott Glassgow, who worked on the music for Robotech The Shadow Chronicles, as well as Live. And he's worked on some other bigger fish, such as like Spider-Man 2, doing orchestrations for that. Wow, that's impressive. We've also got the Jamey Scott here. He was our supervising sound editor on Robotech Live. And he works on this little video game, if you might have heard of it, called Gears of War. And also we have Jesus Barrero. Senor Barrero is the Spanish voice of Wooten and Scott Bernard in Robotech. It's not listed here, it's outside of the anime realm, but he's also the voice of Luke Skywalker in the Latin American world. And for the Voltron fans who showed up, he's the voice of Keith Kogane. And I also have here Svea Mcek. She is the artist of Kamiko's Robotech Macross Saga number 1 through 3. So if you find those copies, those super duper rare copies on the dealer room floor, you know where to take it. We're going to leave San Diego, right? And she was also a creative consultant on Robotech Live. She also put together a Robotech style guide, the majority of which was put together into Robotech Art 1. And so she did a lot of work uncredited back then, but if you have a copy of Robotech Art 1, a lot of that book was put together by yours truly. I want to, Svea, I want to cover a little bit about some of the other projects that you're also working on since then. If you want to talk about it just a little bit.
Okay. Well, there's a picture up there of a cat, if you see that. And what I've been doing is I've been illustrating a children's book of late. And it's a very charming story. It's written by Jane and Ron Taylor, who are friends of mine, and it's all about their little indoor cat who goes on an excellent adventure and learns a few things along the way. It's very cute. I did all the illustration work on it, and we're hoping to get it out for Christmas. So, and then of course, you know, I work in the film industry as a costumer and an assistant costume designer, so that keeps me pretty busy. And also, I'm always just trying to possibly get projects going that were started by Carl and weren't finished because of his untimely demise. So, Legend of Blue is something that he had worked on and done the first 3 episodes, and I think Harmonyville is going to bring in some of the old team members from Robotech to maybe get that project finished. And I worked as a consultant on this latest project that is being released, Live. And I'm also hoping to get another project going that Carl worked on a while back with Joe Pearson, which was this really great story called Rail Runners. And that's sort of a techno-punk science fiction action adventure, and I'd love to get that started. So that's something sort of in the works.
if it's anything that Carl did, I'm all for it. Actually, this is something that was brought to our attention earlier this month, is kind of talking about the Robotech realm. A lot of people really enjoyed watching Robotech for free online on Hulu or YouTube, or getting it with their paid subscription through Netflix or Apple. Unfortunately, everybody noticed that Robotech went down recently. This is all just simply because of a distribution transition we're going through. We're now having the digital distribution managed for us through Lionsgate Entertainment. And so it'll be down only temporarily, but you'll see all the episodes back up. So this is really probably the best way to enjoy Robotech now, because you don't even have to carry all your discs around, all these zillions of discs, or your old timers, the ones who have piles of VHS tapes. I mean, the way to collect it now really is the A&E/Lionsgate DVDs. This is much more convenient than before. We like packaging, it's very convenient. Speaking of new releases, Robotech roleplay games. How many of you are classic RPGers? Did you hear a little bit about the news recently about Palladium? Okay, there was a kind of a tragic backstory with Palladium when you were renewing the license with Robotech. For those of you who followed the soap opera on the internet, they were on the brink of actually going out of business because the controller, the CFO of the company, had actually embezzled to the tune of something like $500,000 of their money. And anyway, going back to their releases, they were able, despite the financial hardship, they were able to release a lot of Robotech books in manga size and deluxe hardcover size. And the books actually brought enough revenue that the company was able to continue functioning, which was very fortunate for them. So Robotech was a license that actually helped them out a lot. And they had a long history with Harmony Wooten, so we were very happy to support them. One of the things they also discovered is that the small manga size, even though that was all the rage for a while, the Tokyo Pop format, they found that for role-playing games, it just didn't work in practice because the lightweight of the books would just slap shut, when you're trying to play the games. Going back to the large format size, so this is something that they just worked out through experience. And this is the newest book that they've got coming out right now, the Genesis Kit source book. However, all the news lately has been of RPG miniatures. This is a super duper rare miniature under the Robotech/Macross brand that Palladium had released a few years back. If you have one of these, hold on to it because they are very, very hard to get. However, they wanted to get back into the whole miniature gaming arena. And this was something we had also talked with George Sun over at Tanami. A lot of people love the Veritechs, but they're drowning in them. We have so many variants of VF1s out there. People just want the obscure little mecha that you see in between all the episodes. What about those? And people kind of understand the, in economics, the whole issue of volume and scale that we manufacture the common mecha first. But this kind of leaves out for the really obscure items. And with the gaming miniatures, we're talking about the micro machine scale. Remember micro machines back then? They thought in this scale we could keep them affordable and we could go nuts and make all the obscure mecha in the series. And for people who don't have that much shelf space at home or work, then you can have a greater range of your collectibles in the same amount of space. So they've done this and the response is huge. They worked with a team named Ninja Division, who are experts in using 3D modeling to prototype the miniatures. And the quality is excellent. This is a 3D prototype of one of the Destroids. And here are painted mock-ups at a game convention a few months ago. And they look great. Just so you know that in the RPG world, some assembly is required. But the nice thing about them is you can custom pose your miniatures. So, I know. What is the context of this image? They needed to tool up manufacturing to get into the RPG miniature realm. This was something that they hadn't done before. Palladium Books was into printed books for role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons. And Toynami, we actually conferred with Toynami on this, and Toynami decided to pass on manufacturing the miniatures because recent regulations actually made it cost prohibitive. Anybody remember like paint toxin issues with imported toys? Well, because of that, there were new federal regulations in effect for paint testing. And because of the increased cost per unit, for large toys, it's actually not too bad. You add about $1, cost to each toy. That's okay, right? But for miniatures, it really adds up. And so this was something that was not in Toynami's horizon for producing. However, we went to Palladium, and they were glad to do this in the context of their gaming, expanded gaming license. Because they never did this kind of manufacturing before, they needed $70,000 to capitalize the new manufacturing. And this was capital that they didn't have after their embezzlement scandal. So they went to Kickstarter to raise the money for it, and Kickstarter raised $1.4 million. So coming this December, at first they were just going to make the range of destroyers, but so much money was raised that they're going to do all the obscure ones, including like the VFX4, the Y4, or the Ghost drone. So all the obscure mecha, they're making it all. So this is something that they're working on for this December. Let's see, Robotech Novelizations. This was a really good initiative that we had. Everything's on ebooks now, but one of the things that we're starting with Random House Del Rey is working on the ebooks in the Lost Universe. So for those of you who are Mckeenists, how many of you are Mckeenists out there? Woo! All right. There are some disagreements between differences in the universe. One of the things I remember when Carl was emceeing the release of Robotech the Shatterpoint was people asked him specifically about his thoughts about the differences in McKinney continuity, and he was very conciliatory. He said, it's a different medium, it's going to be told in its own way, it's organic, the heart of the gold is in the same place to tell a good story, but it's just going to be done differently. And nobody has the right to tell you how to enjoy your Robotech. There's going to be differences. However, one thing we are adding, to them is the updated editions are going to contain appendices. So for those of you who are nitpickers about variances in dates, spelling, when things happen in the show, why is it different in the show, then you're going to have little appendices, kind of like when you look into Shakespeare with all the annotations by, literary historians. So we're going to have that kind of stuff added in. So it'll be a nice addition to the updated ebook editions. Calendars. These have been back in print since last year. And the 2013 calendar right here contains more of the awesome artwork. We're giving some of them away here, and if you come to the Robotech X fan booth, we're going to be giving more away there every day. So come there every day, we're going to be having giveaways there. All right, toys. Now, people have been asking us about toys. Last year we had showed off the plushies. This was something that George Stone was prototyping. Well, anyway, they are done, and we are now taking orders. And so you can order these right now. Go down into the exhibit hall and see it for yourself. Let's see. Soundtracks. We also have a new soundtrack coming out. We had done 24-track remasters, and we've gone into detail about this last year. And this is all the work that went into restoring all the 24 tracks. So now, unlike before, we're able to actually break out separate instruments, separate out the voices from the original recordings. So for many of the songs, we are now able to do karaoke versions. As you might have noticed, with the most recent EPs, we have instrumental versions of We Will Win. So if you want to do a karaoke We Will Win, pretend you're Min-Mate, more power to you. This was never available before, but it's available now. Or you can pretend you're Joyce. So you can have It's You. We've had alternate versions of It's You released since then. So It's You was previously, yes. Was it the mini version of that? On that album? That was never released before.
On the previous EP.
Okay.
All right, We Will Win EP.
Oh, I thought also the George Sullivan one had an alternate.
Let's check.
is. Okay, so I was right. So George Sullivan, we never had a mid-me version of It's You published with the soundtrack heard before, but this was something we found in the master recordings. It was into 24 tracks, never released before, so I got it. And we've got another one, which is all the music from the Sentinel series that never got released because the series got canceled. So we dug that up, and so we were like, holy moly, there's a lot of Robotech music. And some of that music that we dug up that was never used in Sentinels, we actually used it in Love Live Live. So we got a nice little double album here of some of the new music from Love Live Live. And actually, Scott did some of that, and I was really happy with the results. He was actually, you were taking new orchestrations of Opio's old cues for Love Live Live in the opening sequences.
Yeah. Is that stuff that ended up on the album?
Yeah, that's what we want to break. Actually, since you gave us different version, we kind of pick and choose between them for the movie. We were thinking of actually putting it all in there.
You can do versions?
Yeah, all the two.
That's cool.
Actually, do you want to hear one? Yeah. All right. Actually, I didn't have time to put the other one in, so this is going to have all the wishes in it, but they'll get the sense of how awesome it is. Does that sound familiar? So some of these classic cues from the original television series, Scott did his new take on it. Sounds awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about your process working through that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing that's interesting about this project was that Harmony Gold and Tommy and Kevin found the original scores. So I was able to go back and look at what we had done. Some of them were hard to decipher. You have like page 2 and page 7 and figure out how the things work. But it really helped with this cue, or no, it was the Ventrani theme. That was the one that really helped out. This one I had to do kind of by ear, I think. This is a little different. And in the case of what we just heard, you did hear some kind of low rumbles. That was what Jamey was doing, so I don't know how to explain what those low rumbles are, but those aren't in the actual track. Those are part of something visual on the screen. But the main thing I did is I repurposed or remade the main title. I extended it. I added this end to the main title. And then a lot of times what I would do is I'd have to create new material to get us out of that track into the next one. So the very beginning of the movie is where you're going to hear the arrangements of what I did. I guess the other thing that happened is I pulled out some of the 80s stuff. And it was just a thing of, there's a lot of electric guitars and kind of things that we wouldn't really use today in 2013, so I kind of updated it. But I think the Zentronic thing is the one, which you don't have right now, that's the one that you'll hear the most change on. Actually, we have the video, so we'll show some sneak peeks pretty soon. Oh, that's great, yeah. So that's basically what I did. So, of course, everybody who's here, we're wondering what's next for Robotech. And just to give you guys an update, if you follow the trades, like such as Variety Magazine, you're aware of the production team that we've announced before, Keith Voltron, Jason Netter, Toby McGuire, the writers who were attached to the project, Juanes Kasdan, Alfred Gao, Miles Miller, Tom Rob Smith. However, new this time around is Warner Brothers had brought aboard a director, Nick Matthew. For those of you trying to Google the gentleman, he's a talented young commercial director. And actually here, let me see. Here we go. Actually, you know what? What do you think is the best thing to show? The last one? The Zenith one? Okay, all right. So this is probably the commercial that got, now this is a commercial that he produced for selling big screen TVs, and let's just say he's doing a good job of selling big screen TVs. That TV. So we're really excited that they've gotten a guy with excellent visual style. And he's also got really good range. If you go Google him on the internet and look up his ad agency, you'll notice that he's got really good storytelling and visual range. So we're excited to have this gentleman on the project. And I'm sure many of you are asking, what about more animated Robotech? This was something that we had announced at about the time we had the Corray Universe project put together, is Love Live. For those of you who kind of through, resourceful means were able to find it on the internet, there was a healthy dose of skepticism about this project. To give you some backstory about Love Live, it's an OVA. For those of you who watch anime, when an anime series does well in Japan, they often create a bonus episode or sometimes a compilation movie, such as Space Cruiser Yamato often does a movie that encapsulates the whole season. Love Live had an OVA which was mostly music video, and so there were some new scenes, some interesting new scenes. However, a lot of it was flashback, which was structured around concert video footage. And so it was somewhat light on storytelling. It was only about 50 minutes long, and so I had conferred with Carl Mason about it, and his suggestion was, well, why not do a game storytelling, which is just take it, edit it completely from scratch, put it not in the order that you're presented with, but to tell a Robotech story. You're not telling the original Japanese story, you're telling the Robotech story. Run it through a blender, even add scenes where necessary. And so this has gone from 50 minutes long to about 89 minutes long. And because the flashbacks are now dialogued out with additional story, there's actually an undercurrent of a story that's being told. For those of you who are not familiar with the Dana story episode, the story structure is actually very similar to Forrest Gump. And through the flashback storytelling, you find out more about the main character. For those of you who are fans of the New Generation, you know that the story is being told through the eyes of Scott Bernard, the last survivor of the 21st Mars Division. In Love Live, we've changed that. Now, the story of the New Generation is being told from the eyes of Lancer, one of the last survivors of the 10th Mars Division. He was actually on Earth years before Scott Bernard. So there's actually some new scenes added, which are really cool. This was interesting. This was one of the new scenes that were added. When Tatsunoko released Maspida remastered on DVD in Japan, everyone knows that Maspida had been remastered. We also remastered the New Generation. And so in Japan, the remaster of Maspida looked awesome. But the last DVD with Love Live looked horrible because it was the one segment that was not remastered. And also, it was odd that this one OVA of Maspida, which made up the New Generation, over 20 years, was never licensed by anybody. Nobody at Harmony Gold licensed it. When I went there a few years back and asked about the availability, they said, yeah, it's available. And I asked why didn't anybody license it, and they weren't really sure. Nobody asked about it. So I'm like, oh my goodness, we gotta get this. So this was, here you see a demonstration of the cleanup job that we had sent it through. And actually, the gentleman who did it is right here. Demonstrator. It was a lot of work. And it looks a lot better for it, so I'm really grateful for his help on this. So that this new project is now called Robotech Love Live as opposed to Speeding Love Live. At first we weren't sure what to call it because the title Love Live was a little awkward and esoteric, and there were thoughts of maybe we should call it Beyond the New Generation. Then the movie, the Julie Love came out. And then that kind of warmed everybody up to, all right, maybe Love.
It was mostly trying to convince Frank.
Yeah, Frank McCrum, our executive producer. He was like, I don't know, but and then he was like, okay, all right, run with that. Oh, actually, let me skip ahead of that. Here we go. This is actually Greg Sneddoff. He flew back from Italy. He now resides in the heel of the boot in Italy. He is the voice of Greg Sneddoff. He was one of the lead writers on the original Robotech series, and he was the right person for the job. So he worked on the adaptation of the screenplay, and he was the supervising director on Love Live. This is us in the control room. And this is Greg performing as Scott Bernard.
And this is Susie London. Nobody knew where she went. Everybody had trouble tracking her down. She was the voice of Rook. She had done no other work after Robotech. However, Greg, through his own resources, found out that she had switched gears and went into physical therapy and tracked her down. And she reprised her role as Rook, and she was so excited she wants to go back and voice everything. And this is Barbara Goodson reprising her role as Sarah, the other Invit princess besides Ariel. And this is Alexander Kenworthy reprising her role as Regis. And this is a good one. This is actual studio footage of Cam Clark reprising his role as Lancer.
One of the original Robotech masters, a brilliant scientist named Zor, discovered how to obtain limitless energy from the Invit flower of life. But the race to control it only brought endless interstellar war. Zor intended to save the Earth by destroying the remaining seeds of the flower of life. But his plan failed. The Invit became aware of the presence of protoculture on the planet and began their conquest of Earth.
So that's how it's done. All right. Now, one of the other issues with Love Life was, I was going back and forth with Greg on this, was overrunning time. And some of the scenes in Love Live were kind of slow. I mean, dreadfully slow. How many of you watched Evangelion and kind of got tired of scenes when like Shinji was at a bus stop while the bugs were buzzing in the background and the shot went on for about 3 minutes? And then the bus shows up and then he doesn't even get on the bus? Okay, you notice that this is a common way in anime to fill up time. And so, you know, this was precious new footage. This was like new footage from Mosquito that had never been used in Robotech. And Greg was like, this is too slow, we gotta cut this. And I was like, no. So, we kind of came to a happy medium. We kind of did a little nip and tuck. Well, I have to show you the original Japanese footage so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is unremastered, original Mosquito Love Live.
God, it hurts.
Don't worry, the rest of the panel is not like this. I kid you not. Okay. Now, we had our work cut out for us. So after Douglas did his digital cleanup, and then we did some nip and tuck, you know. Obviously we had to tighten it up a little bit with editorial, remove some of the splice damage because back then they were actually cutting real film and taping it together to do the editorial. And Mr. Jamey Scott adding rich new sound effects and music editing, adding into Robotech music. It feels much better. It's now something in the Robotech universe. Here I'll demonstrate it for you.
could sing home for a soldier.
Now, didn't that feel much better? And it feels like Robotech, like a nice comfortable parachute. Actually, I want to introduce you to Mr. Jamey Scott, who did all the sound editorial for that scene. This is actually even one of the more quieter scenes. We haven't even got to the action stuff yet. Actually, you know, I'll send it back to you after I show you the exciting stuff. Also, we did extended out some scenes by adding new CG, and some of the feedback we got from fans from the Shadow Chronicles was that about the compositing. Even though the CG was good, it just felt out of place with the cell animation. And one of the things we were trying to do this time around is to feel more integrated. And also, this is an 80s throwback. You know, we got some new 80s animation that hadn't been seen before. And we're adding in new animated sequences, and we're trying to make it all feel fluid with one another. And this is an animatic that was done for one sequence. This is the evacuation of the Earth during the invasion of the Invid. And here it is cross-dissolving to the final cell shade sequence. Talk about your work process on this.
Oh, sure. It was a great honor to be working on Robotech. I've been watching these things since I was a kid. Although my brother was a bigger fan than I was, but I think I am a bigger fan now. But I've known Tommy for 17 years, or 18 years, actually. We worked together at Presto Studios way back in the day, and so, you know, our careers have sort of evolved parallel, and we finally got the opportunity to work together on Love Dead Alive. So, basically, I took where Tommy left off, and I had to do all of the editorial for all of the scenes that we compiled together. And a lot of that was a little mundane because I was dealing with the old tracks. A lot of times it wasn't quite as organized as I would like them to be. But in addition to that, you know, I had to do all of the sound design for all of the new shots, like the one you just saw, and there's a couple of other really great shots. And then taking all the dialogue and putting it together and doing all the music editorial, and just basically taking the whole project and making it sound like a full cohesive soundtrack. And that's something that's been patched together from various sources over the past 40 years. So, you know, it's a fun project. I think we worked on it for a total of 2 months or something like that. And that's my contribution.
I'm so humbled. I actually go into this Gears of War shrine, and I have to kiss the ring, you know, and I see the work he's doing.
Really?
Rock, man.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, here's let's see this. Oh yeah. For those of you who haven't seen Love, or we've put out snippets on the internet, but we haven't put out a real trailer yet. And we thought, you know what? If the whole thing is an 80s throwback, let's make the trailer an 80s throwback too. Let's make it look like a trailer for a Robotech episode. So here's a little sample here.
Join us next time as Scott, Rand, Rook, Annie, Lunk, Ariel, and Lancer are reunited one last time. Be sure to watch Love Live Alive, the next dramatic chapter in the Robotech saga.
Just to let you know about the narrator, people wondered why hasn't the narrator been in recent Robotech? Everybody thought he was dead. And then I found out through Greg.
through his connections. He's got incredible connections. He's like, no, he's not dead. And I finally met him, and he was like, oh yeah, I got into some big accident, my hip got thrown out, and then because I fell off the face of the earth, everybody thought I was dead. And then Greg was like, yeah, because back then, even then he was really old. I swear he was dead. But when he came back in, he had a really thick Midwestern accent, and his voice was really gravelly, you know, because it's been 25 years. And I was like, are you sure this is the same guy? Greg goes, no, this is him. And then he was like, yeah, suck it up. Gave him some, you know, directions, physical directions, like how to position himself. And then all of a sudden his voice came out. I was like, that voice is coming out of this, you know, little man who could be like your great grandfather. But the guy's awesome. He's got a golden voice. Actually, we're going to show you one other sequence. No cameras, please, by the way. Well, actually, it's going to come out on the 23rd, which is next week. But still, let's not spoil it. Let's not spoil it for everybody. All right, you know, let everybody enjoy the same way. So here's a. Wow, I'm glad you liked it. I was kind of concerned that this was really kind of throwback, but you know, love is in the 80s. Actually, there's one other sequence I want to show you guys, and this is especially very special because Jamey actually just missed this. Didn't you just give this to me last night?
Spanish?
Yeah, the Spanish. Yeah. So you guys are the first people on this planet to see this. Even Mr. Jesus Barrero, who managed all the voice actors in Mexico City, hasn't seen this yet. So I'm glad he's here with us. I'm going to play a segment from the Spanish version of Love of Life. We had this done at breakneck speed to have this for the Latin American audience as soon as possible. So. Mr. Barrero, do you want to talk a little bit about working on the Spanish version of Love of Life?
Well, first of all, I am very happy that you invited me to be part of this project. We worked together also in the previous one,
yes,
in the Shadow Chronicles. And when I received the mail from Jamey, asking me to the the company wants to have the original voices in Spanish. I'm talking about 1985. 1984, something like that. Many of the actors in Mexico, the dubbing actors, a few of them are not available. They are not more long in service, like I said. So it was very difficult to me to join this cast, the original cast. We missed just one of the actresses because we cannot find her. So, but most of the cast is the original, and it was a really nice experience because I was the director also of the dialogues in Spanish, and when I asked to the actors to come, when I don't have to ask twice, they said the first time, yeah, okay, that's a good news to me to say Robotech again, and this is this film is previous from Carl Charles, and they said, well, this is not in the Spanish yet. No, this is a new project for a new for dubbing productions, and really great experience to be part of this, Tommy, and thank you very much to take me in hand. Yes, and well, in Spanish it just it sounds like Reconters. Atención, Fuerza Robotech. Les habla el almirante Rick Hunter. Estoy a bordo del SDF-3. Estoy localizando a Lisa Hayes. Si alguien la ha visto, por favor, notifíquenla. Voy a aterrizar. Están atacando los Simbi.
Still so honored to be sitting next to a Latin Skywalker. So that is coming out. Oh, I got the date wrong a little bit. It's
7/23/2013. So on the 23rd, not the 20th, on the 23rd, you notice that I put this all together like right before the event. But, on July 23rd, look for Love Live Alive. It's being sold in a double feature together with Robotech The Shadow Chronicles. For those of you who are wondering why, the rights actually became available, and A&E and Lionsgate, because they really liked how the packaging of the previous set of Robotech was, they wanted to put this together and have it available at one low price to fans. So this way, you buy that, you buy the complete set that was previously released, you have everything for Robotech that's out so far. So this is the most complete set out there so far. Now, let's see. Oh yeah. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So. Wow, even their opening titles. This is the folks from Lionsgate are here. We're really happy to have them with us. They're the ones who made this release of Robotech possible. And this is the two-movie collection I talked about. This is coming out from A&E and Lionsgate. It includes both the Shadow Chronicles Love Live Alive, and also, if you don't have the collector's edition for Robotech Shadow Chronicles from before, this actually has a more complete set of extras. All the animatics, all the deleted scenes, everything that we screwed up, did wrong, whatever, you can look at that and go, they didn't know what they were doing. So, the deleted scene section. So, it's all there. So, coming out the 23rd. And here's some of the extras that are included for Love Live Alive. We have pre-production art that has never been published anywhere, even in Japan, included in the pre-production calendar. So we were able to get that from Tatsunoko. And it's also going to be available in from Beyond Home Entertainment in Australia. And yes, Shadow Rising is our next project that we're working on now, that we've got this cleared from our plate. This being an ambitious animated project that we're going to work on next, this is going to take a little while. I know some of you are really anxious. After I watch Love Live Alive, what's next? This is Comic-Con after all. People have been bugging us. All right, what about Robotech Comics? It's been like a couple of years since the last TPP came out. And, now, when we first teased this image at Anime Expo, the first reaction we got was like, what? So, let me show you a little preview here of what we're up to. Oops, whoops. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Oh. Play. Oh, it's not playing. There we go.
From days of long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
We released this information like only 24 hours ago, and like Twitter exploded. And let's see, some of the responses we got. Captain Loyola, what's with the eye patches? What? Hell yeah, Roy from the grave. My mind is blown. My two anime favorites in one. Woohoo! And wow, how does Circles of Hell? For all the kids out there who don't know, the crossover is take places. I have to choose between a filet or ribeye, but this time you don't have to. Get both. And then now
now fans get into fanboy, arguments like who's higher ranking, Mckeever boy's gonna kick the crap out of Voltron, how does Corray romance Princess Allura, or would probably rather see Chiron romance Prince Allura. Now, I am not joking, you can Google that. These are real, genuine responses from the fans. I'm nice, I'm so old. Rob Paul warned us this crap. So the crossover comic series is coming out from Dynamite in association with DC Entertainment. This is an absolute throwback to the original 80s series. I mean, real throwback. I mean, I respect people who have a different vision of things. There's been different takes on Voltron over the years, and many of those stories have been very good. But one thing is very important to me, and for the elements of this storyline, is monsters and robots. No brainer, bullets, and mice. So for those of you who followed Voltron before, this is going to take the original's 80s aesthetic and iteration very, very seriously. And I actually want to invite up to our stage Mr. Jamey Corray of World Events.
Greetings, Robotech universe. I mean you no harm. I come from World Events Productions, the owners of Voltron, Defender of the Universe. May have heard of this other anime series. Yes. This is very, very exciting. Ever since meeting, in 2005 at KunaCon, this is the moment we've been waiting for. What happens if these two universes collided and finally this sandbox mashup gets to happen? Is this the craziest idea ever? Maybe. That's what we're talking about. We shall soon see. We've heard of you guys for a long time. You have your Fokker. We have our Sven. You have your giant SDF thing. We have a big floating castle thing.
It's also a rocket ship.
Yes, it's also a little side note. Bluetooth Wi-Fi. Password is Space Mice.
Space Mice rocks, all caps.
Yeah, rocks with an X too on the end of rocks. And security Pidge, he's on it. Right? So this is fantastic. This is super exciting. A lot of elements, just like Voltron, went together. Whether it be Nick at Dynamite, Joe, who's a huge fan there, and everybody at DreamWorks Classic who put this together. DC Comics. I mean, unbelievable. We're all coming together, forming the head. Steve, Svea, everyone over here. Sarah, Melissa, Jennifer, Kevin Mckeever, and I've been dreaming about this for a long time, and it's finally happened. And in all seriousness, I've watched you guys for years, and I have to say, of all the cool saga stuff that goes on, of all the awesome Veritech fighters and things, it's the Robotech fan base that has kept this alive for so long, so I salute you guys. You guys are intense. I see you on Facebook. I watch you on Twitter. I see your Alexa score. Robotech.com. I salute you guys, and fantastic work there. And of course, we are also standing on the shoulders of giants, such as Svea, Mcek here, Carl, and everyone in the Koppler family that I represent. It is funny how our companies are kind of similar, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of giant robots, a little bit of theater. I diversified my portfolio, what can I say? So actually, in honor of our universes colliding here and becoming as one, I have sweet ass Voltron jersey. Designed by Dave's Geeky Ideas, a fan there. So follow us on Facebook, follow Robotech, and you're going to see a lot more mergings of these universes. It's going to be crazy fun. This one's for Svea. Hope you like hockey, eh? And this one's for Tommy. I've been waiting a long time to give him this, folks. Right there. I have one thing. I really want to see that Love Live Alive clip again, because they're being really noisy over there, and I think we can be even more noisy than them. Can we show that on Love Live Alive, coming out July 23rd on DVD from Lionsgate? Are you guys going to march into Best Buy and pick it up? Because every copy sold is a vote for giant robots, damn it!
let me guess, you want to see the 80s throwback trailer. Let's see, where was that? Oh man, was that like 20 minutes ago? Run out. If you don't get one tonight, come visit the Robotech X-Fan booth. And let's see, through Sunday also, the Toynami booth, exhibit hall 3229, visit them as well to see the Robotech toys. And so we're going to open up to questions. So anybody who asks a good question is entitled to something.
We got prizes up here. After you ask your question, you can come up here and pick a prize while the next person is asking their question. So go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering, when are we going to get the original series on Blu-ray? It's really a great quality film, and I just like having the physical media.
We have, that's a good question. We looked into it. The costs of new telecine HD is really high right now. We're looking at either an upconvert, which people know is a quick and dirty method. The main issue is that the original is on 16 millimeter, not 35. And so the original actually was pretty bad. So it would be a lot of work. Yes, next.
Any hope of returning Robotech with a weekly cartoon series on Cartoon Network or something?
You know, television is really different now. We're looking at not just television, we're also looking at internet, because that's a new medium that didn't exist before. Yes. Next, sir.
I noticed that in Love Live Alive that you didn't mention anything about Lunk and Annie's voices being reprised in that. Did they come back their voices?
In the case of Lunk, yes. In the case of Annie, in that case, her role was actually at a minimum for Love Live Alive, so we were able to get away with it with library recordings. So there were actually a few actors where we were able to use pre-existing archive recordings, like Rick Hunter. He was an archive recording. But for the majority of the cast, we were able to bring them back.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the question, or the topic that you brought up of future animation coming that we're able to see, is there any hope of seeing maybe Macross Frontier?
That's licensing from Japan. If it can be worked out, that's something we always we're open to. We know that there's a lot of good product in Japan. It's just a matter of working the licensing out.
Here, in Robotech Art 1, it was briefly mentioned that there were some unused designs from Southern Cross.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that we'll be able to see those in future products with Robotech?
I honestly don't think so. If you look at it, you'll understand that originally it was supposed to be a cyberpunk feudal storyline where it looked like shoguns versus, waging war between different clans of samurai dressed up in like futuristic samurai armor from historic Japan, and that ended up evolving into the Southern Cross. And so those designs, I don't think see being used. Well, there is a little bit of mecha, not that much. A little bit of mecha from like the last few episodes before the series was cut short. Maybe actually, if you look carefully in the new Love Live Live footage, we actually have a little bit of Sentinels mecha that had ended up being unused, which was in the footage. So next.
I actually have two questions. Have any plans of doing the non-flying vehicles from Macross, like the Destroyers and the Tank?
From Palladium Books, yes. They're making them as RPG miniatures, so we have those in the pipeline.
And then the miniatures, have any plans of maybe making characters as well as the vehicles?
Right now, because it's a role-playing game, no characters planned at the moment. It's mainly mecha. Mecha is ships. Next.
Hi, I've got two kids, 6 to 5. As far as plushies, besides plushies, are there any toys coming out that mecha that you can actually play with and be aggressive with for like 6 and 7-year-olds?
Yeah, that's a really tough one for that age group because with the Transforming Mecha going so premium, you know what I recommend is the 1/100s because the really expensive toys, they're just going to break them, but those, because the joints will pop apart, if they push the joints too far, it'll just pop apart and you can just pop it back together instead of getting the toy ruined.
So I just recently rewatched the Shadow Chronicles, and it had, one thing that kind of bugged me about it was it didn't have the classic tracks from the original Robotech, and I noticed in Love Live Alive, you guys did use it, and I was, very happy to hear that. I was wondering if you'd consider
like going back to Shadow Chronicles and like redubbing Reed, that actually sounds like a Robotech episode as you did in Level of Life.
Well, it was two different aesthetic philosophies. Shadow Chronicles was all new animation, and it was a new vibe, a new alien enemy, and so we had Scott Glassgow go to town in terms of creating new themes. Love Live Live is a very deliberate throwback, and so because of the nostalgia, Scott worked with Ulpio's old themes, and so I like his versatility working both ways.
Yeah, I really liked it. And I was just going to throw this out there. I know you don't have any say in the casting for a Robotech movie, but discussion with some friends, Seth Rogen would make a really, really great Ben Dixon. Just throwing that out there.
We've seen it all online. Look online and be entertained.
Okay. So I'm sure
Next.
With regards to the miniatures game through Palladium, can we expect to see either any new characters we haven't seen before, or some fleshing out or exploration of characters that are just kind of not very deeply explored in the series?
For Palladium?
Yeah.
Well, not really characters, Mckeever. And yes, they are doing it all. Really obscure stuff. They're focusing on the Macross saga right now because the plate is full. But after they're done with Macross, maybe they'll move on to other stuff.
They're even doing stuff that only showed up for like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so,
like the Orgus looking thing, basically the licensing rule was if it wasn't an episode, even for one frame, it was in there.
Music, of course, is one of the biggest aspects of Robotech, what makes it so unique. But in Love Live Alive, are there any new songs being able to answer, or are they just old songs again? And secondly, I know it's early stages of the motion picture and can't talk about too much, but will there be a singer characters in the motion picture?
For the motion picture, we haven't crossed that bridge yet. In terms of the classic music used in Love Live Alive, we actually went back to the original master tapes, and the classic songs that were used, we actually had a new transfer done from scratch for most of them, and it sounds much cleaner than before. Yes?
So, I was wondering, is there a plans for a Robotech masterpiece in with Shock Troopers?
Not yet. Feel free to contact Konami and let them know what your opinions are, because they will follow where the market leads them. So hence, they've mostly made VF1s, they've mostly made Alpha Fighters, because that's what the market was gravitating towards at first. So if you let them know what you want, they'll listen. Next.
I have two questions. The first question is, you said it was canceled. Have they discovered anything, and are they going to put together the Sentinels?
Well, it was canceled because they couldn't get the partnership to work back in '86. And that ship has already sailed. That winter bound training has already gone. And also, unfortunately, what happened is the main reason why people ran back home to watch more Robotech is because they wanted to find out what happened next in every episode. But the storyline had played out in comics from the Vultures, had played out in novels from Jack McKinney. And so there's no surprise anymore. So we could revisit that realm again, but we won't follow exactly that storyline. We may, reinvent and reimagine a new story for that era, but I don't think it's going to be exactly the Sentinels.
Okay.
Because we like surprises.
Yeah. And then, has there been a determination on what special effects house is going to be doing
we haven't
live action?
Don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet. How are we on time? One more question. One more question? Okay, last question, sir.
Oh, dang. Yeah, no pressure now. But you answered the one main one that I was really wanting.
The answer is 42.
No. I was mainly wondering when we were going to see Shadow Chronicles, the next episode.
Shadow Rising.
Shadow Rising.
We don't have a release date for that yet. That's something we've started to work on. When we're close to, it's just like Love Live Alive. Until we knew what the date was, we didn't speculate on it until we were ready.
And then you kind of touched on the Black God before. I was wondering, because a lot of us do, about the Sentinels, and would we ever see those episodes, even if they're not, it's like revisiting an old thing.
What's a really good example is Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles. for a lot of the fans who were left hanging by the incomplete Wall Trip series. We actually brought the Wall Trips back and let them do their adaptation of Rubicon and let that storyline segue into Shadow Chronicles. And that was something that made the Wall Trips fans very, very happy. So we do mine the Sentinels era for great ideas. So, you know, it could happen again.
Yeah, because when we started with there was this one episode that you get if you got the books, the DVD series of Rick Hunter's and Lisa Hayes' wedding, which was supposed to be the start of the Sentinels, and then we got nothing. And I was like, you know, I'm sure every one of us would really like to see what happened. I mean, we read the books, but you know, to see would be very.
But you know what? When the ebooks of the Sentinels come out, look for it. So thank you very much. Oh, actually, well, where's the old cards?
Where's the over?
Oh yeah, there they are. They're Comic-Con exclusive DVD sleeves, just for San Diego Comic-Con only. So if you want to prove that you were here, there you go. Get them from this guy before they're gone.